Hey y'all, so today I found, it was like a post in one of those Twitter communities. So someone asked, do you compare your exes with your significant other, as in your current person that you're dating? This is actually something that I do wonder about people, because I always wonder if people compare good or bad, because I've seen a mixture, specifically with people I know. Like, I would watch them and they would be like, well, the guy I'm currently dating, he's great, he does this, my ex didn't do this. Or I would see a lot of people, if they weren't getting their way, they would probably be like, man, I miss the way my ex used to do this, do that. People would go into a deep conversation about that. Sometimes I would see people oversharing on Twitter, and I'm like, man, that's crazy, because what if the person you're talking to sees that? So I know for me, when it comes to my fiance, sometimes I'll just flat out tell him, like, we'll have conversations about our past over the course of time. And sometimes I'll just be like, man, I'm glad you're not out here for the streets, bro. I'm so glad that you're not like my exes, the stuff that they used to do. I'm so glad you don't do stuff like that, because it definitely makes me feel safe. It makes me feel loved and cared for, and I can actually be myself. Like, I'm not scared to talk to you about anything, I feel like it can be good to compare only if it's good. I will say, I know in the past when I've dated other people, I have compared them to people that were not ideal fit for me. For me, that would almost be like red flags. So for example, if I dated someone who was a double standard person or very one-sided about the way they handled things, then if I would dated somebody new, I would feel the exact same way, where I would be like, this person is double standard and one-sided. My ex used to be that way. That's a red flag. And it would be so much easier for me to assess what was good for me and what was not right for me. And I know I've talked to my fiance a couple of times where I would tell him about situations I went through. A lot of times situations would always come with understanding red flags were present, but I just really wasn't paying attention to them because I was either lonely or, honestly, yeah, I'm gonna just say I was really lonely a lot of times. Or maybe I did really like the person, but I will say I feel like a lot of people, they end up making the worst mistakes or like talking to people they shouldn't be when they're lonely. I feel like loneliness is why a lot of people end up in situations they shouldn't be in, situations they still stay in, or familiarity. I think so many times humans, we get familiar to people or to certain situations. Like if you're dating someone for 3 years, constantly getting into it with them, but for some reason you don't want to stop talking to them, even though you know y'all in a toxic situation. You want to stay because it's familiar. It feels safe to still be in that place, even though it's not necessarily a safe environment to be in, because, I feel like people don't really be understanding that the longer you stay in a toxic situation, the more, one, it's hard to break out of. Two, it's probably going to affect your health in some type of way, emotionally, mentally, physically. So many do not understand that if you stay in a toxic environment or stay around somebody that keeps making you upset or making you mad, people don't be realizing that it makes them sick. Like, I have seen a variety of different people stay in situations where they were unhappy, which led them to drink more, which poisoned their body. Now they taking different meds, or led them to having high blood pressure. Now they gotta pop pills the rest of their life because they need their medicine to maintain their blood pressure. Like, so many people do not understand, or some people get stressed out and then people will literally just die on you. I hate to sound so morbid, but literally people don't be realizing that sometimes bad situations of being around people that aren't really good to you or don't put you in good situations or make your life stressful, it will potentially kill you or stress you out to the point where you aren't good. I just think so many people don't grasp this and don't realize how you legit only got one life to live. Sometimes if you surround yourself with negativity, it will wreak havoc on your body, on your mental, on your emotions, and people don't really think about stuff that way. I will say, I feel like talking to friends, family, if you feel comfortable, can make a difference, specifically when it comes to comparing exes or talking about problems you're going through. Me, I always feel like I shouldn't have to say anything negative about the person I'm talking to anybody outside of my relationship. When I was younger, I used to vent so much. I used to tell all my business on Facebook, on Twitter. I used to overshare so much stuff that I should not have been sharing. And it made me look stupid. I'm not gonna hold you. It really made me look stupid, specifically because I would be complaining about something that I wasn't happy about in a relationship, but then in the same breath, I would still be with that person or still sharing about that person, you know? And it's insane. It's insanity, to be honest, because it's like, if you aren't getting what you want, if you're constantly unhappy, why are you staying with that person? I got to a point where I felt that if I was not happy with someone and I felt that I had to go out of my relationship, meaning I could not talk to that person about how I felt, or I felt like I couldn't open up to about how I felt, or I felt like they weren't listening to me. And if I felt like I had to talk to a friend or a family member, to me, that meant I was not supposed to be with them. Now, don't get me wrong, y'all don't have to apply the same logic, but that's just me personally. I feel like if you're going through something with your significant other, you should be able to talk to them about it. I truly feel like you should be able to talk to them about anything and everything. If that's the person that's for you, you shouldn't feel scared. You should feel heard. Of course, logical reasoning. It has to be something that's making sense, you know? Not you being upset because he took the last piece of cake and then he didn't know it was the last piece of cake, or like you being upset because he didn't do something for your birthday, but you didn't tell him when your birthday was, you know, stuff like that, because those don't make sense. But if it's something reasonable where you share how you feel and then they ignore you, if I feel like I gotta go out of my relationship to talk to somebody else or to vent to somebody else, and if it's repetitive, why are you still talking to them? Because that's what, like, I remember I had this girl group chat at one point in time. I remember one of them asked me how come I don't really share, and I kind of explained that to them because I feel like whatever I need to handle needs to be between me and my significant other. But that's the point that I've reached in my life, just based on the stuff that I went through in the past. If you feel comfortable with sharing, that's, you know, that's different. Everybody is different. Because sometimes people do need a second ear to understand, like, am I being crazy or is it me? Because sometimes, you know, sometimes people do, like, you don't really be thinking about stuff in a different way, and sometimes you need another perspective. But other times it's like, if you know somebody doing you dirty and you proceed to share this information with your friends or family, girl, you know what the answer is. You venting, you complaining, but red flags are there. I definitely reflect on my past experiences with exes in comparison to my fiance. Just telling people, or even telling him, it's a completely different situation because he actually celebrates things with me. And he's probably the only guy I've ever dated that has legitimately celebrated things with me, for me, together. Christmas, Valentine's Day, my birthday, sweetest day, just even regular holidays, bro. 4th of July, Juneteenth, New Year's. I never dated anybody who did that for me, where they celebrated stuff with me. I've had guys lie and say they would do things for my birthday and then disappear. That's happened multiple times. Or I've had people say they were going to do stuff, then be like, oh, I can't do it, only for me to find them on social media doing stuff with other people. It would be stuff like that. And then people would pop up maybe 2-3 weeks later after the fact of a celebration and be like, hey, big head, or what's going on? And it's like, bro, what do you mean? And that's the thing that would get me. People would be volunteering unprovoked to do stuff for certain holidays or events. And then they would disappear for a minute or ghost for a minute, or they would come up with an excuse why I couldn't do stuff. And then I find out they doing something else. Just awful. I will say, I feel like comparing how great my fiance is to other people in the past, it's just complete night and day. Almost like, when I'm gonna tell you right now, comparing can be good because you really appreciate what you have. And so many times I'll be telling him, man, I appreciate you so much. You do this, you do that. Thank you. I'm gonna bake you a cake. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do something for you. It just hits different. Being with someone who likes you in general hits different because you can actually see that they are interested in you. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people are just not built a certain way to show affection, to be romantic. Some people are just not like that. It's either in them or it's not. I'm not going to hold you. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you want to change somebody to do something, they not going to do it. They either going to want to do it or they not. It is what it is. You shouldn't have to beg somebody to do something for you. You shouldn't be complaining about it all the time. Like, they either going to do it or they not. And I also have to mention too, sometimes it's the way people ask. I have seen a variety of different women be upset because the guy that they were dating weren't romantic, or they started changing certain things that they were doing. I really hate to say it, but sometimes some women nag. Sometimes some women don't have tact in the way that they present issues. They tell their man what to do. No, you can ask respectfully, and if they don't want to do it, then it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? I would say just wait some months to see if somebody gonna do something. You know, don't just be like, oh, he ain't do this in a week. That's crazy. I keep feeling like I got something in my eye, but yeah, I do feel like it's good to compare. I will say when you start doing bad comparisons, you should probably just leave them alone. So if the current person you're talking to, you start thinking about your ex, it's giving rebound. Maybe you shouldn't be talking to the current person that you're dating, you know? But yeah, what about y'all? Have y'all ever compared y'all current person to y'all exes in the past? Was it good or bad? Does comparing actually make you appreciate your current person, or does it make you realize, you know what, these are red flags? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure y'all check out my other chit chat dating advice discussion videos. I'll leave a link in the cards as well as a link in the description box down below. But yeah, I'll be seeing you guys again real soon, so stay blessed, stay positive.